Hello, everybody out in Forrest Finland. Finland, not Finland and Norway. Welcome to the House Husband Diaries. As always, I am your host, Carter C. And we are still doing themes in the thrill of the chase. Themes for days. Today's theme, as you might have guessed from the title and the description, is never. As in, I never do that, falling down, but I did it twice going through barbed wire fence. And other nevers that I thought maybe could be a theme. And I will tell you right now, less than a minute into this video, buckle up. There are more than 30 mentions of never. I'm going to move through a couple of them pretty quickly, but this video might get a little lengthy. So without further delay, page 6, never. I don't count nevertheless, but there is never in nevertheless, right? If you want to get technical. Nevertheless, we'll move on. First mention, there's actually 3 mentions of never on page 6. Halfway down the first paragraph, over the years, more important things came in and out of my life, so I never much cared even then. Now, what I think is interesting about this is he's talking about, he thinks it's funny that he said 70, almost 80 instead of saying 79. But he never much cared about his age. And so that's what he's talking about. The sentence right before, I could have just said I'm 79, so I could be a year younger, but I don't care anyway. Over the years, more important things came in and out of my life, so I never much cared even then. So he's saying he doesn't care about age. So is he saying all this stuff about, that he says in the coming pages about Eric Sloan and being smart because he changed his age and he hoped his friends would forgive him that? Do you think he's saying I never much cared even then? Like that, like that's a never that maybe coincides with, hey, don't, those other crazy things out there and on the edge, maybe that one don't worry about because I never cared. I never cared then, I don't care now. I don't know. Number 2 mention. I figured the same thing must be happening to me, so I felt all right with it. And then my hair turned gray. Okay, white. But that problem was easily solved by just telling people I was dyeing it, and they never knew the difference. So you see another example of Forrest being okay with misleading people. Not because he's a liar, because whatever. It's just because there was a problem. He found a solution. Tell people you dye it. And then that's a joke too, right? So it turned white. He's like, oh no, it's not turning that way. I just dye it that way. So it's funny. I get it. I laugh for us. Don't worry. So third mention. I don't really have anything much more on the whole the gray thing. Although, I saw some videos about color, or at least one video, and I've thought about doing a video on the different colors, but yeah, I think, yeah, we'll deal with that later. We got a lot of nevers to get to. So at the bottom of the page 6, last sentence, third mention of never. He said that his habit as in Eric Sloan, his habit of never dating his letters or paintings was not a careless oversight, but rather a deep personal superstition that ignoring time itself might be a secret technique to delay aging. And that's always been an interesting sentence. I think a number of people have mentioned it. Is there something, this book talks about time and life and memories and all these big, spiritual things. And he's saying, never dating it. Is it a way to delay aging? It seems like right now Forrest Fenn has delayed his aging somehow. He's doing really well. it's just unreal. So I don't really know if there's anything there. I used to feel like that sentence was much more important. I'm starting to kind of move away from it. He said that his habit of never dating his letters or paintings was not a careless oversight, but rather a deep personal superstition that ignoring time itself might be a secret technique to delay aging. And he's talking about someone else never dating stuff. He's not talking about himself. So I kind of not sure how much I take stock in that. But then right there at the bottom of that paragraph, he talks about, he died 2 weeks later while standing on a street corner in Manhattan waiting for the light to change. I'll never get over that. And I think that's just sort of like a personal, because he was one of his best friends, if not his best friend, that he'll never get over that just because he died too soon. Getting hit is just, or did he have a heart attack? I don't remember. So much goes on in this chase and so many factoids. So much. All right, page 12. Let's keep moving. Page 12. So these, I don't think, the next few, I don't think are really a big deal. So I'm going to kind of skip over them. He talks about, I've never heard of them. He's talking about the authors. I don't think there's as much to do with the important literature chapter. I don't think what's important in that chapter are the books. I don't think Catcher in the Rye is important. I'm not sure that J.D. Salinger is important, but maybe. And I definitely don't think that the other books that Great Gatsby and that Bell Tolls book are important. So he said he never heard of him. He's never been able to. Let's see, where are we? I don't know. I moved on because it's just not really that important to me. The other thing that he says on page 13, and he's talking about writing his own version of Catcher in the Rye. And he says, in the schools I never heard about. It just I just don't think. I think that's just kind of him just saying whatever and just messing around and filling up words. I don't think those words have much to say. If you do, have at it. There's 2 mentions of never on page 12, 2 mentions of never on 13. The second mention on 13 is he goes, actually, there were 2 reasons why I never got around to my book. And I think that's a little bit interesting. It's the bottom paragraph on page 13. Actually, there were 2 reasons why I never got around to writing my book. One was because I always had other important things to do, and making plans is antagonistic to freedom. But the other reason was more important. My self-confidence was really down at the bottom. I don't know. I wonder if that's important. I'll do something on important too. I'll do a series or an episode on important, because I haven't looked at that, but I know that it comes up other times. They always said important things, or this is important, and that was not important. I don't care. Those types of things. I don't know if there's anything important in there, but we shall see. Page 14. I'm telling you, there are tons of these. I got this down, and I was like, this video is going to be 4 days long. Going to do my own K-Pro Cal marathon just on never. Might as well just sit here and read you the whole daggone book. Okay, page 14. This is a fun one. He said, not quite halfway down, about a third of the way down that last paragraph, he says, besides, nonfiction writers don't have to be right but 85% of the time, and everyone knows that. How else can a person write a book? I never thought I had to believe everything I said, and if I had to look up a word, I just wouldn't use it. Now, what's interesting is Forrest, I think I've made this point either in I think I made it in a previous video, like one of my first videos. Maybe it was the ground rules video or one of the first couple clue videos. But it's so interesting because he says, this is like the second, third time he said, I don't have to believe everything that I said. I only have to be right 85% of the time. Excuse me for embellishing. Like, guys, ladies, you got to take some of this stuff with a grain of salt. He is not, like, every word that he says is not, going to lead us to the chest or, wherever. He is an imaginative, artistic, free spirit, a maverick in his own words. He says, if I had to look up a word, I just wouldn't use it. And then he's also told us he spent 15 years writing that poem, and he looked words up. Every word's important, and what we need to do is look up the meaning of words. They're contradictory statements, but they're not contradictions, because as you go through life, you just make up words. I do that. Like, you don't, okay, whatever, who cares? If I have to try to, if I'm talking to you guys on an episode, I'm recording it, and in my mind I can't think of a word, I just switch on the fly to a word that I know. I'll rephrase my sentence because I'm just like, I can't think of the word, and it's better for me to keep talking than to sit there and go, I don't know. So I'm sure there are tons of times where, Forrest in his own life and you all in your own lives get to a point where you're trying to say something, you just forget the word, or you don't even know a word, so you just kind of go back around and take a detour, and you get to what you want to say, but in a different way, and then maybe if you remember it, you look up a word, but I'm probably spending way too long on that, never. But I just think it's really interesting that we don't really spend a whole lot of time on the fact that, like, a lot of this stuff doesn't have any meaning, and that's part of why I think it's so difficult, is because there's so much, not necessarily untruth or misdirection. It's just creative license. And how do you dig through the creative license information and find the hints and the clues? And that's where we all are. That's why we make these videos, and that's why people watch these videos, to see if we can get some sort of edge or idea into Forrest's mind, see if we can figure out where he hid the thing. All right, next page, 2 mentions, page 15, that big, interesting page. I love this page. I don't know how it's important and how it fits in, or if it doesn't, but it's a neat, there's a lot in those few sentences. He says, now near the end of my 79th year, each day tests me in a different way, and I know that before too long, I'll make my last flight to where even memory itself will never have been. Why do you think he says will never have been? Why didn't he say, I know that before too long, I'll make my last flight to where even memory itself has never been? I don't know. Any of you English teachers out there? Will never have been. I don't know. Something to think about. All right, moving on. Next sentence. Sooner or later, each of us will be nothing but the leftovers of history, or an asterisk in a book that was never written. Well, he's written a number of books. And I think that's part of what the thrill of the chase is, right? We're writing our own stories, whether we're recording them on YouTube, whether we're writing our own books, or whether we're just experiencing our lives as they come, and we're adding the experiences that we have on the chase, interacting with other people that are searching for the treasure, interacting with the Rocky Mountains, or taking trips that we wouldn't normally take. We're in essence writing a book that may never have been written if we weren't involved in this, and I think that's cool. All right, page 16 and 17. I don't think there's much in this, but it's mentions of never, so I'm going for it. Bottom of the page. This is first grade. I guess she never understood the irony of calling him a son of a beep. And he does not say beep, but I don't know if I should say that on my channel. I've said other things, but whatever. And then on down a little bit, he said, My dad stopped liking her when she said that he was nothing but a cheap one pony show. I never knew what that meant, but it must have been really bad because it made my father mad. I'm pretty sure he knows what a cheap one pony show is, but maybe he doesn't know what the janitor thought was his cheap one pony show. I don't know. I'm moving on because that doesn't really mean a whole lot to me. Isn't he one horse and cattle company or something, but cheap one pony show? I don't know. Maybe there's something there. One pony show. Is there some one pony show post? Is that the home of Brown? Bombshell. Probably not. All right. This is what I'm talking about right here. Foreign language, jumpstarting the learning curve, page 24. Oh, Miss Ford, coming up again. Her problem was that she kept trying to teach me Spanish by talking Spanish all the time. All the time. I never figured out that technique. Me neither, Forrest, me neither. I don't know why people keep trying to speak their language at me when I don't speak that language, because I don't know. And then here we go again. This is what I'm saying. The next sentence, besides, other important things were building up in my mind. I don't know why there's always important stuff after never. Again, flummoxed. All right, page 40. You still with me? We're probably halfway there, guys. This is interesting too. Talking about right before they get spanked and paddled. My father never knew what the word bluff meant, so he'd just sit there and give Skippy about 5 seconds of additional parole time. You think that's a play on words? He never knew what the word bluff meant? You think he hit it near a bluff? There's a lot of bluffalos out there. How's that for a dad joke? If you've been watching this 17 minutes in, that was a nugget. That dad joke, I'm sure, just got you chuckling. And you were like, this is why I watch this guy. Bluffalos. Page 40. All right, down a little bit. There's 3 mentions of never. Mom was always knitting and didn't seem to notice. And June was asleep by that time, so it never became an issue in the family. What never became an issue in the family? Paddling? No paddle up your creek? About 4 or 5 times the spankings began to, after 4 or 5 times the spankings began to work for me, but I'm not sure Skippy ever learned. Maybe he was turning alpha. June never got switched because she probably did everything right. Well, I said this in a chat room, and I didn't see anybody agree with me. I didn't see anybody even notice that I said it. It was a long time ago, like, I don't know, 2 months ago. The only mention of paddle and the thrill of the chase is right above that. It's on this page. And he said June never got switched. So she was the only one that never got paddled. I know he doesn't use the word paddle. He changes it to switched. But what if June was, so if there's no paddle up your creek, there's a June Creek in Colorado. I'm just saying. I was hoping there would be one in New Mexico because I just think it's in New Mexico. I should do a video on why I think it's in New Mexico. And I'll put a bunch of clickbait on the thing. Oh, new clue revealed. It's in New Mexico. Blah, blah, blah. And then I'll get 40,000 views and it'll all be fake. Because I'm trying to sell my soul. Just kidding. All right, this stuff is too long for me, guys. There's still so many mentions of never in this thing. I might have to do a second video, or should I just keep plowing on? I'm going to keep plowing on. I'm going to try to make it through. All right, 41, next page, talking about doing the listening to the show, the radio show, the top 10 countdown. Skippy never participated because he was above such nonsense. I don't know. I don't know if there's anything important. I don't think so. I'm going no. I'm just mentioning it. I'm just here. I'm just the messenger. Page 50. Last full sentence, bottom of the page. He never lost his inventiveness or his originality and was the most intuitive person I ever knew. Talking about Skippy. I don't really think there's anything there either. And then he says on page 53, Skippy never would say, of course. And that was talking about the plane and how he got it back to Idaho where it belonged, which I think would have made a lot of people go, it must be hidden in Idaho because Skippy never would say, and two people can keep a secret if one of them is dead. But I don't know how long ago Forrest removed Idaho. Didn't he remove Idaho and Utah or something from the chase? And Canada, something like that? Anyway, maybe I'm just making that up. Wouldn't be the first time. Just kidding. Nothing but facts here, folks. Hard-hitting facts. Page 57. Still with Skippy, talking about the long ride home. He got out of the car, Skippy had stopped, and Skippy was driving on, and then Skippy, after another hour or so, off in the far distance, I saw Skippy come back for me. I didn't think he would, and neither of us said a word. I just crawled in, and we drove off. I loved him forever after that, and we never fought again. I don't know. I think that's just brothers. I don't know if there's anything there, but maybe there is something deep down in imagination somewhere. Page 59, looking for Lewis and Clark, towards the bottom. Why my horse was named Lightning was something I never figured out because he hardly had the power to get out of his own way. There's a lot of never figuring out going on, you know? I never figured out how to speak Spanish. I never figured out why his name was Lightning. I'm going to have to do a further study on this to figure out, you know, if the nevers have any kind of, hey, don't look at this, hey, don't look at that. And then really get back into the poem with all of these nevers. Because there's a lot of nevers, you know? I wonder if Forrest, I doubt you're watching this, but if you are, did you know you use never like 37 times or something? Nope. I don't know. Maybe you did. Maybe you did it on purpose, but I don't think. I think that is that goes back to, man, why are people looking at everything I've written? But it's fun. All right, page 67. I feel like by the end of all of these theme videos, I will have read you the entire book. Page 67, Buffalo Cowboys, last sentence. It made me really mad, so I never ate there again. And that's talking about Cody was found and shot, and his meat was made into buffalo burgers at the Stagecoach Inn. Is the Stagecoach Inn where his family owned? I don't know. I don't get in that deep to Forrest's like historical, personal life, you know, his family and everything. Maybe I should, but I just leave him well enough alone up in West Yellowstone and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. It's just not part of my chase. It's fine. It's part of other people's. I don't know. If that's what Forrest wanted me to do, was do his family tree and a genealogy to find the treasure, then okay. Guess who's not going to find it? Guess who's probably not going to find it anyway? Yay. All right, page 73. My War for Me, the very beginning, he was talking about everyone knew, talking about his wife. Everyone knew that she was too good for me, but tenacity was never one of my shortcomings, if you know what I mean. I know what you mean, Forrest. I know what you mean. I got you. I'm a better winker with my left eye, but it doesn't look good on the camera. I should have done it right eye. All right. How many winks? I know, I'm going crazy. There are about 10 more mentions of never, okay? So I'm getting there. Sorry. I know it's the longest video I've ever done. All right, here we go. Page 76. This is just elected officials saying never again for war. I don't think there's anything there. But to mention, page 88. Oh, I kept it as a souvenir to remind me of why I never saw any generals on the front line. Just talking about one small pebble hit his leg, and he kept it as a souvenir. I don't think there's anything there, but it just reminds him why generals are never on the front line. I don't know if that has anything to do with us. We're not in war right now. That's just kind of part of his story, I think. And then we get to the big one that I mentioned earlier, page 94. Still in my war for me. I tripped over something and fell flat on my face. That never happens to me. Well, we've already talked about falling down, and that has happened to him on numerous occasions. So I think there's something there. Something about something. You know what I mean? You think there's something going on? I do. All right, page 96. We're getting there. So excited. Talking about his long flight from Newfoundland to Pope Air Force Base, North Carolina. Pope Air Force Base is about 25 miles from where I am. It's kind of cool. Not really, doesn't have anything to do with it. It's not like he hid the treasure at Pope Air Force Base. Otherwise, all you folks out in the Rocky Mountains would be screwed because it'd be right in my backyard, and I'd have like 1 million boots on the ground, you know what I mean? I'd have so many boots on the ground if I lived near the Rocky Mountains. If it was like a 3 or 4 hour drive, I'd totally do it all the time. I'd be over there. Or if it was less, I'd totally do it. But it is not. It is not. Not. Page 96. At about midnight, I lifted off for a long, dark flight that would take me down the length of the eastern seaboard, across a blur of lights that never slept. Boston, Providence, Hopf, and New York, all the way down. Yada, yada, yada. I don't think there's anything there. It's just really like the eastern seaboard's lit up. For all you people that live other places, it is lit up. Oh. $105. Blue jeans and hush puppies again. We learned that a mattress on the floor wasn't bad at all, and that we could plaster walls and watch the Cowboys play at the same time. Although our learning curve was flat at first, it was never dull. I don't know, maybe is the learning curve flat at first? Is that like the first couple of clues are flat at first? It's flat. Does flat have anything to do with it? Warm water's comfortable, flat. But then you take it in the canyon down, it's not flat anymore. Is it flat where Homer Brown is? I don't know. Does flat have anything to do with it? Ooh, but it was never dull. Is that the Homer Brown, some dull thing? I'm reaching. Okay, let's move on. 5 more mentions of never, and we're done. Next page, 106. Oh, this is so much fun. And I never made that mistake again, or many of those mistakes again. So he's talking about, I'll read the last paragraph. But the result of the whole episode was inordinately profitable for us because it was so educational. I learned about friends, art, dealers from Amarillo, Gilbert Gall, black and white painting, smoking guns, and dead dogs bleeding on bridges. And I never made many of those mistakes again. So I was going to do an entire video on that sentence, but I think I'm just going to put it in this video because this video is so long. He says, I learned about smoking guns. Is there a smoking gun? Do you think there's a smoking gun in here? Where there's smoke, there's fire. I don't think it has anything to do with anything, but it might. You never know. Where there's smoke, there's fire. Where there's fire, the chest is wet. I don't know. I want there so badly to be something here. But I don't know. Sometimes my memory can have a very long attention span. There we go with memory again. He didn't make the mistakes, or many of those mistakes again, because his memory was long, it's positive. But how long, right? You stop crying after 50 years. Back to memories. Ooh. Okay. Page 116. Tea with Olga. I think this is funny. She was fearful of flying and said she would never undertake such an outrageous adventure. I don't really like to fly either, folks, but I fly a fair amount. I like to travel. I just don't like traveling as much. I like experiencing new places, but don't really like being up in an airplane. So, I don't really know that Olga never undertaking such an outrageous adventure has anything to do with it. Maybe it does. Maybe you go, hey, that's totally it. She doesn't want to undertake an outrageous adventure, but she did. I don't know. Her ashes did. Same. 125. Man, we're getting there. We're almost done. So exciting. 3 more mentions of never. So this is chapter Fly Water. He's talking about being in those waters. First sentence, those great places, which were personal secrets to me then, are now busy with the flourish of fishermen and women who cast a midge or floating caddis upon those same waters, never knowing I had been there, or even caring yes or no. I don't really think this thing has much to do with fishing holes and all of that. I know everybody does, but I just think that's too. I don't think so. I think he's just telling you about something that he loves to do, but I think he has another meaning for the chase, and it's not just about fishing holes. But I could be totally wrong as well. Last 2 mentions, page 136. Bottom of that first chapter, last paragraph. Anyway, I've never been willing to stand idly by and be part of a forgotten history when I may be able to impact future events. Just never standing by, never being idle. He's always doing something, putting out scrapbooks, doing something. He's just a doer. Doobie-doobie-doo. Last one. In his Ode to Peggy Jean, page 142, down at the bottom, last stanza. Today I looked up in the sky and saw that I shall never die. Forget the pain and harm you see, my loving wife looks after me. It's a nice ode to Peggy Jean. Now, I know what you're thinking if you're still with me after 30 minutes. Hopefully you've taken several breaks. It's a lot of nevers. And I think really what I was going to do when I figured out how many nevers, sorry, I just kicked the stool. When I saw how many nevers there were, I had no idea there were that many nevers. I thought, before I make this video, I need to pare down the nevers. But before I did that, as I started to do that, I thought, I'm just going to run through these, put a long video up on nevers. I'll let you watch it. I'll let you decide what nevers speak to you. I'll just give you the information, and I'll let you decide. What I will probably do with this information is I will take these nevers and I will go through them more slowly, more methodically, and see if I can see any other themes that are near, that connect, that are contiguous in these stories, and see if I can't tie it back to the point. And I'll say this too, since this video is already tremendously long. One of the things that I'm finding about doing these videos and doing all of this thrill of the chase stuff is that I spend a lot of time in the book, researching the book, and I spend less time on the point. And so while I'm producing these videos, I'm not really going back and spending a lot of time going, okay, well, what are my thoughts on the poem? So at some point, in the next couple of weeks, hopefully I'll be able to produce, kind of get all of this stuff out there. And then be able to come back and go really through the poem and start to dial in maybe, okay, where could these themes give us hints or clues to the clues in the poem, and then start focusing back on the poem. So it's a good switch. I started the House Husband Diaries, Forrest Fenn videos with each clue, each line, ground rules for the search. It was all about the poem, and now I've moved to the book. And so what I'm starting to feel is that it's time to move back to the poem as well. But there's still some more themes, some more information I want to get out to you guys to see what you think. So thanks for watching. Thanks for liking. Thanks for subscribing. As always, share it with anybody. Let people know. I love all of this. It's super fun. And hope any or all of this helps you guys. And looking forward to the next episode. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.